Is your second quarter score with 2:53 remaining. And we're live from Veterans Memorial Auditorium in Des Moines.
Look at that one, Michael.
Yep, off the bench, Muscatine.
Of course, on that top one, the number is 55. The name's Jenny Knoll with those 8 points.
That's right. And by the way, in the rebounding column, Muscatine 16-6 over Durant. And here's Stacy McCoben. McCoben with 4. And she's 1 of 2 in this trip to the line. Jenny Knoll, the rebound, and here comes Muscatine. This will be Sarah Anderson on the point. Joy Hovick. Anderson again. Anderson the rebound. And clearing the iron is Krista Clausen for the Wildcats of Durant. Here's Schoenig. Now Langford. Schoenig runs down the rebound. McCoben, and an offensive foul. She backed in on Jenny Knoll.
Trying to make use of her hip. Just slide right out. Here we'll see. Pass inside, entry pass to her. Well, get out of the way, Lenny. Why? Anyway, Lenny had a good view of it. She countered with her hip going across.
He was a part of the play. He was so close to it.
Big part of it.
An 8-point Muscatine lead, and the Muskies with the ball. Reversing the dribble at midcourt, that's Barb Cole. Now Sarah Anderson will take over at the point. Maribel Rivera. Schoenig, the rebound.
One big improvement. We've seen him seal Knoll off the board at the offensive end.
Triggering from long, that was Darcy Jepson. And inbound, Muscatine. Pretty good matchup. Tracy McCoben at 6'2". Stacy McCoben at 6'2", and Jenny Knoll at 6'2 plus. Going upstairs for Jenny Knoll.
Outstanding give and go. Give a big assist to Maribel Rivera.
Knoll has 10 points all off the bench. A 10-point lead. Muscatine. Langford. Partially deflected. Knoll the rebound, and
it's Sarah Anderson the block on that one.
now you see Muscatine establishing its own pattern. One shot and one shot only. Cutting off the inside drive of Langford and cutting off the effectiveness of the power post position, Stacy McCoben. And a couple replacements come on to shake them up.
We got the returning starters going in. Kapler and Lilienthal for Krista Clausen and Darcy Jepson.
Just 53 seconds remain in this, the first half. Here's Rivera, and here's Knoll again.
Same play.
Identical plays, going upstairs. Little rainbow pass. And 12 points now for Jenny Knoll.
And she's going to pick up strength and speed and be something special, Mike Lewis.
30 seconds remain. Lilienthal. McCoben. And she has 6. A 10-point lead. And you see the clock winding down. That was Anderson triggering the follow shot to Hovick. And we're at the halftime break. Muscatine 26 and Durant 16. Halftime shows always something special at the Iowa Girls State Basketball Tournament. We've got a good one coming up right after this. The halftime score, 26-16. Muscatine leads Durant in 5-player basketball, and we'll remind you again, the 6-player title game is coming up later on. It's going to be Ankeny and Atlantic, a pair of giant killers, beating unbeaten teams, both in semifinal play yesterday. The final day of the 6-day Iowa Girls State High School Basketball Tournament. Muscatine and Durant in the 5-player title game. And a little later on, we've got 6-player basketball coming up. And while we've got just a brief moment, I'd like to say hello to a good friend of ours up at St. Mary's Hospital in Rochester, Minnesota. He's at the Mayo Clinic. And we're talking about Monsignor Joe Tolan of Wall Lake, Iowa, who is a sports friend to all athletes, high school, college, and otherwise across the state and everywhere. Joe Tolan has been doing hand-to-hand combat with the doctors up there, and we understand from the medical reports that things are looking up, and I got a hunch that Joe's tuned in tonight.
Yes, Mike, and I certainly missed the Carnations this week. He's been a fixture at the girls' tournament, as well as you said, all activities in the state.
Well, Monsignor Joe, we're thinking about you here in Des Moines, and thanks for everything that you've done for girls' high school athletics down through the years, and a speedy recovery, please. Once again, we're at the halftime break, 26-16. We had consolation basketball this afternoon, as a matter of fact. And in the consolation of the 6-player championship, Elkhorn Kimballton the winner, 84-80 over Ventura.
And a record-scoring game in the 5-player when Cedar Rapids Regis outlasted Dubuque Waller 87-85.
In overtime, as a matter of fact, Regis gets the 3rd place trophy. And 4th place to the Cinderella team in this tournament, Dubuque Senior, which didn't come in with a fancy record, but boy, they were fancy enough out on the basketball floor, the Rams. Very briefly, look at the halftime numbers. 30% shooting for Durant and 49% shooting for Muscatine.
21-10 rebound advantage for Muscatine. 9 of them from number 55, the freshman Jenny Knoll.
Yep, 21-10. Muscatine leading Durant in the rebounding column. And in the turnover column, 7 on Durant and 5 on Muscatine. We'll have a further look a little later on, but from the field, 6 of 20 Durant, 13 of 27 for Muscatine, and Muscatine at 49%, Durant at 30%. That's got to change.
And no one in foul trouble through the first half. We can look for both teams to come out and continue to press just as aggressive as they'd like.
Leading scorer, 12 points, and that is Jenny Knoll for Muscatine. Let's take this time out. We're here at halftime, 26-16. Muscatine leads Durant in the 5-player championship game. Back after this. Live at the state basketball tournament. Let's go downstairs and catch up with Don Mum. Don?
Thank you. We're happy to have with us tonight Congressman David Nagel, who was on the drought committee last year in Washington. Congressman, what's in store for the farmers this year if we should have, forgive the expression, a drought?
Well, it depends on the magnitude of it, but I honestly think that if we have a drought with the magnitude of what we had last year, you'll see essentially the same program. I wouldn't bank on that. I'd encourage everybody that can afford it to get crop insurance. But if it gets bad, Congress probably will act again along the same lines as we did last time.
Do you think farmers can expect both the emergency drought program and federal crop?
You're better off if you can afford crop insurance and it works for you to take it. But if we have it as severe as we had it, we'll have a drought program. The danger for Iowa and the Midwestern states is the smaller the drought area, the less likely there will be to be federal intervention. So insurance is always better off for you.
I see. Thank you. And do you have any special bills that you will be pushing in legislation in Congress this year?
We will be taking the whole question of crop insurance apart as soon as we get a commission's report that we set up in the drought bill, because we know for a lot of farmers crop insurance doesn't work, and there will be some legislation on that later this year.
Is it true that only about half of the farmers enrolled in federal crop?
It's half in Iowa, but unfortunately it's 27% nationwide. It's even lower than what it is in Iowa.
Is there anything that can be done to provide an incentive to increase that participation?
Well, I think the best thing we can do is get a better program with more farmers participating. That'll lower the premium for everyone. That's what that commission that we have studying the problem is designed to recommend to us.
Well, thank you very much, Congressman Nagel.
Thank you, Don Mum, and a face in the crowd, Representative Dave Nagel checking in. Let's go downstairs and check in with George Turner. George?
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to call your attention to section 16 on the north side of the auditorium, row 1. We're proud to have the #1 girls basketball fan in the state in attendance tonight, Governor Terry Branstad, his wife Chris, and party. Section 16 on the north side of the auditorium.
That's right. Wave, Morgan.
Ah, yes, Governor Terry Branstad on board, and he's getting a standing ovation from his loyal following here with his lovely wife, Chris, First Lady of Iowa. Terry Branstad. Everybody's waving to Terry right now.
There was the Atlantic crowd turning around and backing around to waving.
Chris and Terry Branstad on hand for the 1989 Iowa Girls State Basketball Tournament. The tail of the tape, Mike Henderson.
And as we mentioned, go right down to the bottom for a big one. Second from the bottom, rebound. Muscatine 21, Durant 10. Shooting, Muscatine at near 50%. Durant must warm up from that 330% shooting.